Well, hello everybody, welcome to Mr. Paul's Pantry. I'm Mr. Paul, and if you're new here, very warm welcome. If you're a returning visitor, it's nice to see you here again. Now, the recipe today is something that I've never made before in my life, until just this last week. It's something I never even heard of. It's many requests from people wanting to reminisce about their school dinners back in the 1950s and 60s. Well, I've no experience of this because I never had school dinners for various reasons, which we won't go into just now. But I've done quite a lot of research, and I've actually found 3 families whose mothers were school dinner cooks. 2 of them have actually still got their mother's recipe papers, all the papers from the school dinners, and have sent me copies. So I've researched it very carefully. There are lots of different variations up and down the country, but in general, it all seems to be as I'm going to show you how to make it today. It's called a cheese flan. And apparently, as I said, I've no personal experience about this, it was served with chips and baked beans. So I've made 2 or 3 of them just as samples to try, and this I think is the best of the bunch. Okay, so off we go. So here we have the ingredients, and they're very few ingredients. They are eggs, cream, cheese. Now you can, if you want, put some onion in this. I'm not putting any in this one, but I'll explain about it in a moment. As well as the eggs, cheese and cream, a little salt and a little white pepper to your taste. Okay, so those are the ingredients. Now some people do put onion in, as I've said, and I'll explain that as we go along. So, and today I'm going to use shop-bought pastry, because so many people tell me they can't make pastry, they don't like do this, that and that. Is it all right to use shop-bought? Now listen, shop-bought pastry these days is very good. And I have to say, when I'm making something in a hurry and I don't want to bother making pastry myself, I do use it myself sometimes. But this is ordinary short crust pastry. It's not puff pastry, it's not phyllo, it's short crust for making pies, or as you can see on the picture, pasties. Okay? So I'm not going to go through making the pastry. If you want to make my pastry recipes, underneath the video I have a link to all my pastry recipes. It's one link, and all the recipes for the different pastries are on that link. You can follow that. Okay? So let's get on with putting this thing together. Onto the tin like that. Sorry, slipped off, never mind. Onto the tin. And just ease it down into the corners. Gently. Just gently ease it down. No rush. And don't stretch the pastry and make holes in it if you can help it. There we are. I'm going to use a little corner of the pastry here to push down into the corner so I don't push my fingernails through it. If you use the same bit of pastry that you're already using in the tin, it won't stick and it won't break the pastry. Just gently into the corner there. So there we are. Lovely. Okay. And how I'm going to do that is I'm going to just roll the pin over the top like this and take off the trimmings. And there we have the case all ready to go. First of all, I'm going to add the cheese. Now don't forget, the recipe and measurements are all underneath the video. Don't have to worry about it. They're all the cheese in the bottom there, nicely even. Now you can put more cheese if you wish, but I've got this is the recipe I've tried and I've found quite successful. Now the eggs I've whisked in here until they're very, very well mixed. Don't have any lumps of white and lumps of yolk separate. Try and get them well mixed. And when you've whisked them, it's a good idea to leave them standing for 10 or 15 minutes because they will then go much better. If you see like this, look, there's no long stretchy bits in it. Okay, so we're going to pour this now all over the egg, the cheese, sorry, just gently. Now don't forget, this is slightly different to if you're making a quiche, because if you're making a quiche you would at this stage be mixing the cheese normally with, when you're making small ones like this, with the egg wash. Not going to do that. Now I'm going to add a little salt and pepper. Now go easy on the pepper because depending on what cheese you've used, there will be quite a bit of cheese, salt in some of the cheese, so be very, very careful. Now when I add pepper to anything, I know there's sprinklers on these things, I never use that. I always use my fingers and sprinkle on what I think I need. I like pepper, so I'm using quite a bit. People say, do I use black pepper or do you use white pepper? I always use black pepper for some things, white pepper for others. This I particularly like. I've tried it 3 times now, I've baked it, and I've tried it and I like the white pepper better, okay? So now we've got that. Now the cream is going on next. Now it's going on just dribble like this. I'm not mixing everything together. Just dribbling it over. And in this jug I've got 200 mils. And I'm going to use not quite all of it. There, I've used about 150 mils of it. Okay, into there. Now that's going to go into the oven at 190 for about 25 to 30 minutes. But keep an eye on it, okay? So I'll pop that in the oven and then I'll be back when it's finished. Well, I did tell you earlier about some people putting onion in this cheese flan. Well, I've a few minutes now before I lift out the flan from the oven, so I'll just explain. If you want to add onion to it, there are several ways to do it. First of all, you can caramelise the onion in a little butter and oil, equal quantities, and till it's just nice and soft and sweet, and spread it on the pastry before you put on the cheese. Then just carry on as normal. You put the cheese and then the egg and then the cream. But if you want something more crunchy, like I use in my Greg's copycat cheese and onion pasties, that onion goes in raw, so it's not in the oven that long a time for it to cook soft, and it still has a little bit of bite to it, which I particularly like. Everybody doesn't like that. But chop it small and then sprinkle that on the pastry before the raw onion. That's a yellow sweet onion, a brown onion. I don't mean red onions or shallots or anything like that, just an ordinary Spanish onion. And sprinkle that on before you put the cheese on top. And if you want to do that, that'll give you a very, very nice crunchy flavour as well. If you wish, you can do what some other people do, and they cut rings of onion and they put it on top of the cheese before the actual egg goes on top. And that's a different thing altogether. Can I just say that these recipes I've tried, these are recipes from actual ladies who made this product in school dinner kitchens. I've actually seen the recipe papers from 2 families who had their mother's recipe papers. One did have onions in, the caramelised one, and one didn't. And most people don't put onion in things, so I've left it out for you to try it without. If you want to put the onion in, you can do. And that's my timer I can hear going, so I'm going to lift out the flan and let's have a look at it. Well, there it is, the old school dinner cheese flan. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, go underneath, give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions, comments or suggestions, leave them underneath. Excuse me. I do read them all and try to answer as many as I possibly can. So this is Mr. Paul saying bye for now, and I'll see you next time. Bye.